For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a quarter skein of Karen's 1 pound in mixed gray and a half a skein of Karen 1 pound in lavender blue. As for tools, a 6 and a 7mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 3 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting started on these leggings, we are first going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot, grab our 6mm hook, and start off by making the height of our waistband. I want mine to be 2 inches or 5 centimeters, so I'm going to start off by making a chain of 8. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then into that 4th loop from our hook, or the loop that we just blocked off, we're going to go in with 1 double crochet. And then from there, go ahead and just put 1 double crochet into every loop that we have going back down our chain. Now that we have our first row of double crochets all finished up, next thing we're going to do is do a chain up of 2 that helps us work our way up to the next row. We're going to flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, go into that first back loop that we have with a double crochet. Let's do the next one together. Prepare for a double crochet, go into that next back loop with a double crochet. We're going to keep doing back loop double crochets until we get to the end of this row. Once we make it to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 3, flip our work, and then work our way back down with back loop double crochets. And we're actually just going to keep doing this. This is going to be our waistband until this reaches around the widest part of our hips. And then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam it all up together. So we are back, and I now have the waistband length that I need. And just to let y'all know, I have a total of 31 inches or 79 centimeters, keeping in mind this does stretch quite a bit as well. And also I have a total of 51 rows. But when we have this, we're going to go ahead and connect these 2 ends that we have together by seaming it together with a single crochet row. So all we're going to do is sandwich these 2 ends together. And since my hook is already into this corner, we're just going to insert our hook into that next corner. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything. And now we're just going to go in with a single crochet, making sure that we're going in through the front loop and the back loop of each front panel at the same time. So into the next available loop we have in the front panel, insert our hook, into the next available loop we have in the back panel, insert our hook. Yeah, that one. Insert our hook, and then from there we're going to single crochet. Let's do just one more together. Into the next available loop we have in the front panel, insert. Next available loop we have in the back panel, insert, and then single crochet. And go ahead and keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we're going to meet each other back because we're going to go along the bottom with a single crochet row. So we are back. We have just seamed up both of our ends together, and now we should have a pretty solid looking waistband. It should be in a circle. But once we have this, we're just going to go all the way around with the row of single crochet along the bottom, and then we can start going with our detail and then our pant leg. So what we're going to do from here is do a chain out of 1, and then all I'm going to do is flip my work inside out so that now our seam is on the inside. And now we can go in with our row of single crochet. So just go ahead and put 2 single crochet into each side double crochet. So there's 1, there's 2. Let's do the next one together. Into this next side double crochet, go in with 1, go in with 2 single crochets. Once we have that, go ahead and work your way all the way around. Once we get to our first single crochet, do a slip stitch into there, do a chain up of 1 and cut. And then we'll have to do a little bit of talking because we got a little bit of detail to go into right before we go into our legs. Alrighty, so we are all back with our single crochet row that went all the way along the bottom. We have cut and tied, and as you guys can see, we have some stitch markers in. We're going to have to do just a little bit of figuring out because we do need to figure out where our main body portion color is going to be, where we're going to have our little side detail color, and then the main body portion color along the other side. So what I did was I counted out from where my stitch marker is, from where I went ahead and cut my work. I counted the halfway point that I had around this entire piece. So one pant leg is going to go from here to here, and then when I have that, I figured out where that middle point was, and then I figured out where I wanted my side color detail to be. And just to let you guys know, this little chunk that I have right here is a total of 2 inches or 5 centimeters, but you guys can make this as wide or as little as you guys want. And then from here, go ahead and just insert your stitch markers into that column that we're going to have that's going to run down the side of our leg. And then go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And then from there, we can actually go in with our next row. Our next row is going to be a row of single crochets, but we're going to be alternating colors between our main body portion all the way up until we get to our side detail portion. We're going to switch out our colors and then go back in with our main body portion. And we're going to do that along the other side as well. And we're only doing that because once we make our way back up, when we're going in with our side slip stitch rows for our body portion, we're going to want to make sure that this is as clean as possible since we are switching out our colors. So once when we have that all said and done, we are first going to be inserting our hook into this next available loop that we have, grabbing our main body color. We're going to pull through, doing a chain up of 1 to secure. And then once when we have this, we're just going to go all the way down until we hit our first stitch marker, which should be where our side detail color is going to be. I'll meet you guys back so that we can switch it out, and then we're going to keep doing that same sequence all the way around, and then we can start going in with the length. So we have just made our way down to where our first stitch marker is. Well, 1 loop away from it, but we're going to start doing a single crochet into this last loop that we have right before our stitch marker. We're going to be switching out our colors, and then from there we're going to do the same sequence all the way around. So let's just switch out our colors together just one time. We're going to insert our hook into the loop that we have that's right before the one that has our stitch marker in it. We're going to insert, yarn over, pull through, and then from here we're going to be grabbing our side detail color, and then from here we're just going to be placing that on top of our hook. And then with that secondary color, we're just going to pull that through those 2 loops that we have that's on our hook. And then by doing that, we're actually eliminating the little purple sequence that we would have if we were to just continue going in with our gray from here. So this looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. Once when we have this, we can cut our main color, or the first color we were using, tie the 2 tail ends together, and then we can go in with a row of single crochet using your secondary color until you guys reach your loop that you have right before your stitch marker. This is just the middle stitch marker. We actually don't need this in here anymore. So go ahead and keep going until you guys get to that loop that's right before our stitch marker. Switch out your colors again the same way we did it this way, and then keep doing that all the way around. Once we make our way all the way down here, go ahead and connect with a slip stitch. So we're back really quickly. We actually haven't finished doing our row of single crochet where we're switching out our colors yet, but this is what things should be looking like. But once when we get to our middle stitch marker, which is across from where we started, we're going to want to keep that in there just so we know where to start and end our legs. So once we get into there, we're just going to make sure we put our stitch marker back into there. Unless if you guys want to keep counting, then you guys can do that too, but this is a little bit easier. But yeah, go ahead and finish this off and then I'll meet you guys back. So we have just made our way back with our second row of single crochet, and this second row was the one where we switched out between our primary color and our secondary color so that it's easier for us to go in with our side detail later. But once when we have this, we're going to want to try this on and then figure out how long we're going to need to make our chain for the length of our pant leg. I have already measured mine out. I'm going to make a chain of 33 inches or 84 centimeters. And that comes out to about 105 chains. Keeping in mind that we will have a little ankle cuff as well, and mine are also going to be high-waisted. So you guys go ahead and adjust your chain from there. Switch out our hooks, and then I'll meet you guys back. So to start off our chain together, what we're going to do is take out our 6mm hook, and we're going to be switching out for our 7mm hook. And we're going to start off by making the chain of the length that we need. Now that we have our chain, we're going to start going in with a row of slip stitches. And that's basically going to be it. So all that is just blocking off that last chain. We're going to do a chain up of 1, and then into that loop that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert our hook, we're going to yarn over and pull through everything. Let's do that one more time into that next available loop in our chain. Insert, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing slip stitches all the way down until we get down to our base. And then once we get down there, we're going to do a slip stitch and then start working on the rest of this piece. But really quickly before we get there, the only tip that I have to tell you guys is that when it comes to slip stitches, I know that it can be really tedious and then it'll eventually possibly start to shrink up on you. So just try to keep the same grip throughout the entirety of our chain, and then that'll help determine the length that our chain is going to be. Because if you guys keep your slip stitches tight, then it's going to shrink up your chain. But if you guys leave it the same, then it's going to stay the same length that you guys made your chain. So go ahead and keep that in mind and then go all the way back down with slip stitches towards our base. So we are back all the way down with our first row of slip stitches, and now we're just going to connect into the base with another slip stitch, and then we're going to work our way back down with back loop slip stitches, which is going to be the majority of what we do for these pants. So what we're going to do is see this next available loop that we have right here into the base. We're going to be slip stitching into that loop. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything, and now we have closed off this first row of slip stitches. Once we have that, we're going to slip stitch into the next available loop to work our way up to the next row, flip our work, and then we're going to go down with back loop slip stitches from there. So into this first available back loop, we're going to be inserting our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. And once we have that, go ahead and put more back loop slip stitches going all the way back down. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then come back up towards the base doing back loop slip stitches. And then connect into the base the same way that we just did, working your way all the way down until we hit our color section that we have right here, and then we'll meet each other back so that we can do this detailing together. So we are back, and we have just finished up going in with our primary color, and we have made our way all the way over to the first loop that we have when it comes to our secondary color into this details section right here. And then as you guys can also see, I have also went ahead and switched out my colors as well. And when it comes to switching out our colors for this pattern, this stitch, or for any other pattern or stitch, when you guys are going to pull through your last 2 loops that you guys have, go ahead and just switch out your colors by inserting your secondary color on top of your hook, and then just by pulling that one through that last step that we have in that stitch. And then by doing that, it'll maintain keeping the next stitch clean so that the primary color isn't mixed in with the secondary color. But when we have that, I have already switched mine. Now I'm just going to go back down with a row of single crochets just to start this off. So since I'm already here, I did a chain up of 1. I'm going to flip my work, and from here I'm just going to be going in with a row of single crochets. Once we make it to the end, it's going to be the same way that we have slip stitched it into the base. And once we make it to the end, we're going to meet each other back because we're going to be doing a row of back loop single crochets, and then I'll meet you guys back. Now we just made our way all the way down with our first row of single crochets when it comes to our secondary color. When we get here, we're going to be slip stitching into the base just like how we normally do. And then now this row is closed off. Once we have that, we're going to slip stitch into the next loop that we have into our base. We're going to flip our work, and then now we're going to be going in with a row of back loop single crochets. Once we have this, we're just going to insert our hook into that first back loop and then single crochet. But we're only going to be doing this for the first row and the last row that we have in this detail section. Everything in between is going to be a solid row of regular single crochets. But go ahead and do back loop single crochets. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 1 and do rows of regular single crochets, and then I'll meet you guys back when we are at our second to last loop into our secondary color section right here, so that we can do our back loop single crochets again together. We are now back. We have just gone up with the majority of our secondary color section, and we have just 2 loops left on this side. When we get here, we're going to do a row of regular single crochet into the second to last loop, and then into that last loop we're going to be going in with a row of back loop single crochets, or whichever loop we need to make sure that we have a ribbing on the same side as we have right here. So go ahead and do this second to last loop with just regular single crochets, and I'll meet you guys back so that we can do the last one together. Now that we have just 1 loop left into our secondary color section, now we're just going to be going in with a row of whatever loop single crochet just to make sure that we have this ribbing on the same side. So once we have this, we're going to do a chain up of 1 for me, flip my work, and then in order to get a ribbing on the same side as the first one right here, I'm actually going to be doing front loop single crochets just so that they can match. So I'm just going to do a couple to show you guys. And then front loop single crochets is just inserting your hook in through the front loop that you have right here, and then single crocheting like normal. So I'm just going to do a handful just to show you guys what it's going to look like. But this is what we should have. We have a front loop over here that we can go into, and then also a front loop over here that we can go into as well. But when we have this, go ahead and go all the way down with our front or back loop, whatever you guys are doing, single crochets. And then once we make it to the end, we're going to be switching out our colors just like how we did on the other side. And then we're going to go in with our primary color until we hit our stitch marker. And then I'll meet you guys back just to remind you guys what we're going to do again on the other side. So we are back and we have just finished up going in with one entire side of our pants. And the next thing that we're going to have to do is just do the same exact thing that we did here on the other side. So go ahead and just insert your hook into that next available loop that we have in our base. And then we're going to make a chain that is the same chain length as the first side. And then we're going to be switching out our colors just like how we did over here on this side. And then from there, we're just going to go all the way around until we don't have any more loops left. And then I'll meet you guys back so that we can get started on the rest. So we are on our second side panel and we are just about to go in with the rest of our primary color. But just to let you guys know, if this happens to you, this may or may not. But when you guys are going into your next color that you guys need, since we're going in with slip stitches, sometimes if you guys are going into it, since our yarn is on this side, we're going to pull through, chain up one, and then we're going to go in with our back loop slip stitches from here. And then this side that's facing us looks great. But this isn't the side that's going to be faced on the outside once when we wear it. But if we flip it inside out, because this is where our ribbing is, if we flip it inside out, then you guys can see that we have this line in between this color that we have right here, which we don't want. So if this does happen to you guys, what we can do is just go ahead and cut and tie, which is what I did over here, reattach our yarn up here at the top or whatever side you guys need to reattach it to make sure that that secondary line doesn't come through, and then just go in from that direction. You guys don't need to go in from where you guys left off. Just make sure that it looks right when you guys connect your yarn. But go ahead and continue on from there, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay, cool. So we are back. We have just finished going in with both of our pant legs that we have, and we have cut and tied. And the next thing that we're going to have to do is just seam all of this up and then give us a little extra space for our thighs, but we'll get to that in 2 seconds. When we have this, we're going to want to try this on, and since it's on, we're going to want to measure 2 spots. So the first spot is going to be the bottom of the pants, and then you're just going to kind of pinch it up all the way up until it gets to a decently tight spot on your leg. It's typically for me around my knee, but yours can be higher, yours can be lower. It all depends on whatever you guys have. And then once we have that, I have inserted my stitch marker, and just to let you guys know, from the bottom all the way up to my stitch marker, I have a total of 35 loops, and that's 9.5 inches or 24 centimeters. But when we have this, we're going to want to measure from the waistband down, and then doing it that way is going to be where we connect everything. And then to let you guys know that as well, I have a total of 25 loops, and that is a total of 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters for me. And then we're going to keep this one here for now. We're first going to just seam up from the ankle up until where we have our first stitch marker. And that's going to be fairly simple. The first step that we're going to want to do is make sure that everything is flipped inside out. And by inside out, I mean make sure that the seam that we have for the waistband, if I can find it, is on the outside. Where is mine? Like so. Here we go. Make sure it's faced on the outside so that all of our seams are faced the right direction. When we flip it right side out, we want everything to be nice and clean. Well, when we have flipped it, what we're going to do is just go in with a row of single crochets, making sure we're going in through the front panel and the back panel at the same time. And then we're going to go all the way up until we hit our stitch marker. So let's just start these off together. So seaming up our pant leg, what we're going to do is insert our hook in through the bottom corner into the front panel, and also into the corner loop that we have into the back panel. Insert our yarn onto our hook, and then we're going to pull through. When we have that, we're going to do a chain up of 1, and then from here we're just going to go all the way down with single crochets. So into the first available loop we have in the front panel, insert your hook, and then into the next available loop we have in our back panel, insert your hook into there as well, and then from there go ahead and single crochet. Let's do one more. Into the first available loop we have in the front panel, insert, and then into the next available loop we have in the back panel, insert, and then single crochet. And go ahead and keep doing this all the way up until you guys hit your stitch marker, and then we will get started on this little thigh detail that we have right here together. Beautiful. So we are back. We have just finished up seaming up from the ankle all the way up until where it got tight on our leg, which is around my knee. And then from here, we're actually going to want to go in from where we inserted our connecting stitch marker. We're going to work our way down with back loop slip stitches. Once we get here, we're going to do a decrease and then work our way back up. And then we're actually going to keep going back and forth like that. And by doing this, this is going to give us just a little bit more fabric for our thighs. And then we can actually just stop with this pant leg from there and then do the same thing that we just did here on the other side. And this is going to be completely customizable. So as you guys go, please try this on and make sure that it fits you nice and snug. But other than that, once when you guys have your stitch markers in through both sides of our panel, we can just go ahead and insert our hook and then start off by going in with a row of back loop slip stitches all the way down until we have just about 2 loops left right before we get to this seam right here. And then we're going to do a decrease together, but I will meet you guys back once we get right here. So we have just made our way back down with our back loop slip stitches going from our connector all the way down until we have just 2 loops left right before we get to this seam before we get into our decrease of 3. So into this second to last loop, we're just going to be going in with a back loop slip stitch, and then into this last one, into the first loop that we have in the seam, and then into the first loop that we have along this side, we're going to be doing a decrease of 3. So let's stick together for that really quickly. We're going to be inserting our hook in through the first available loop, so the last one that we have on this side, yarn over, pull through. From here, we're also going to be inserting our hook into the first loop that we have into our seam to eliminate any gaps. We're going to yarn over, pull through that one. We should have 3 loops on our hook. And then also, we're going to be going in through this back loop. So if we flip our work a little bit, we're going to go into this first available loop that we have, making sure we're going in through the back. Once we have this, we should have 4 loops on our hook. And then from here, all we're going to do is just yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. And that is our decrease of 3. And this is our middle loop. And then if you guys want, you guys go ahead and throw in a stitch marker just so that you guys know where to do your decreases from now on. But from here, we're just going to go all the way back up with back loop slip stitches until we meet our other stitch marker on the other side. Once we reach the stitch marker, go ahead and do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then work your way back down with 1 back loop slip stitch into every loop. And then we're going to do this decrease of 3 together just one more time, and then I'll let you guys have at it from there. So we are back with our second row of this little thigh V portion. And as you guys can see, we have stopped 1 loop right before we have our stitch marker loop. And then we're just going to be doing another decrease of 3 into there. So I guess we can't take out the stitch marker. And then from here, we're going to be going in through the back loops of the next 3 stitches that we have. So insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through, into the back loop after that, yarn over, pull through, and then into that third back loop. We should have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. So yarn over, pull through all, if I can, 4. There we go. And then from here, go ahead and insert your stitch marker back into that loop. And then from here, just go ahead and go all the way back up with back loop slip stitches. Once when you guys get to the end, do a chain up of 1, flip your work your way back down, do another decrease of 3, and then work your way back up this way. And you guys are going to keep going back and forth like that until this little thigh portion is thick enough to hold our thighs. So go ahead and just keep doing that. Once when I'm done, I will let you guys know the length that I have and then also the amount of rows as well. And then we can get started on the other side. Alrighty, so we are back with this little thigh chunk that we made for ourselves. I know it looks a little crazy, but just to let you guys know, from this first row where we started doing our decrease of 3 in the middle, all the way until where I ended, I have a total of 8 rows. And this is just about 1.5 inches or roughly 4 centimeters. But keep in mind, once when you guys do put this on, it does stretch quite a bit. So do whatever you want with that information. But once when I get to my 8th row, I'm going to be going all the way down with a single crochet seam because I am done with this side. So let's just start off the seam, which is actually the same way that we have seamed everything else so far. So we're just going to do the first one together. All we're going to do is insert our hook in through the corner loops. And since this is our working yarn, we're just going to insert our hook in through there. And we're going to pull our working yarn through. And then let's just do 1 together. We're going to be inserting our hook into this next available loop in the front panel, and then into the next available loop we have in the back panel. From there, we're going to single crochet. And then just keep doing this all the way down until we don't have any more loops left to go into, and then go ahead and just do this entire sequence on the other side. Now that we are all done with that, now we can start to go in with our cuff. And the first thing we're going to have to do is just go in with a single row of single crochet with our primary color, but our cuff is going to be our secondary color. but we're just using our primary color first so that it's a little bit cleaner. So all this is that we're going to be inserting our hook in through any one of the loops. It does not matter which one. We're going to pull through, chain up 1 to secure. And then into each of these side slip stitch rows, we're just going to be going in with 1 single crochet. So all in all, however many rows we have going all the way around, that's going to be the same amount of single crochets that we have for this next row. And we will also be switching out our colors when necessary when it comes to our secondary color. So go ahead and get this started, and then we'll switch out our colors together. And now that we are here where our secondary color is, we are going to be switching out our colors. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through into that last primary color that we have. Once when we have these 2 loops on our hook, we're going to be placing our secondary color onto our yarn and then pulling through those 2 loops that we have. From here, we're going to cut the tail end of the primary, and then we're going to tie them together and then go across our secondary section with our secondary color just with single crochets. We're going to switch back out once we get over here and then work our way all the way back around. Once we make our way over here, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut once we get to that first loop, and then we're going to go in with our actual cuff length with our secondary color. So we've just made our way all the way around with our row of single crochets where we switched out our colors where necessary. And now this next row is going to be a row of single crochets with our secondary color or whatever color we want our cuff to be. But once when we are here, this is going to be super simple. We're just going to be inserting our hook in through any one of these loops, inserting our yarn onto our hook, chain up 1 to secure, and then from here just go all the way around putting 1 single crochet into every loop that we have, slip stitch into the first one once we make our way all the way around, and then we can go in with the length of the cuff together. And now that we have made our way all the way back with our second row of single crochet with our secondary color, from here all we're going to do is make a chain that comes out to the cuff length that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain that comes out to 9, or that is about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. And right before we get started, we're going to be switching out our 7mm hook to our 6mm hook. Once when we have our chain, what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into that second loop from our hook, or the loop that we just blocked off with our thumb, go ahead and go in with a slip stitch, and this portion is going to be exactly the same way that we did the main portion of our legs. So go ahead and just put 1 slip stitch into every loop that we have going back down our chain. Once we made our way back down with our first row of slip stitches, what we're going to do is connect into the next available loop into the base with a slip stitch to close off this row. So we're going to insert our hook into that next available loop, pull through with a slip stitch, and then once we get here, we're going to work our way up to the next row by going in with another slip stitch into the next loop that we have into our base. We're going to flip our work, and then now we're just going to be going in with back loop slip stitches just like how we went in with the leg portion. So go ahead and keep doing this all the way around until we don't have any more loops left to go into, and then once we get there, we'll meet each other back so that we can seam up the cuff together. We've just made our way all the way around with our ankle cuff, and we don't have any more loops left to go into. So once when we get here, we're going to be going in with a single crochet seam the same way that we have seamed everything else so far. So we're just going to do the first one together, into the first available loop into the front panel, insert your hook, and then into the next available loop that we have in our back panel, insert your hook, and then single crochet. And from there, just go all the way down, putting 1 single crochet, making sure we go in through the front and the back panel at the same time. And then once we get down to the end, go ahead and chain up of 1 and cut. And then everything that we just did on this side, go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And then I'll meet you guys back. So we are back, and the next thing we're going to have to do on our list of things for this is actually just seam up this really big gap that we have in between our pant legs, in between our thighs. But this is going to be fairly simple. All we're going to do is just go in with a row of single crochet, making sure we're going through the front panel and the back panel at the same time. And then the same thing once we get over here to the thigh portions. This is going to be pretty simple, so I'm just going to kind of let you guys have at it. But just make sure once you guys get over to the thigh portions, let me show you guys really quick. And also make sure that your work is still flipped wrong side out. So all of our seams are facing the wrong way currently, but at least the same way. But basically we're just going to take these 2 panels, perk them up together, single crochet all the way down until we hit our thigh portion. Once we hit our thigh portion, we're going to continue perking up our 2 ends, and then single crocheting all the way around that way as well. And then once we get to the end, go ahead and single crochet all the way up, and then I will meet you guys back so that we can move on from there. Okay, so we are back, and now that our pants are all seamed up, we have two options. We can either keep going with the loops that we're going to eventually do later on in the video, or we can keep it like this because this is very cute as is. And if you guys do want to keep it like this, the only thing that you guys are going to need to do is make a chain that can weave in and out of this top band that we have, and then weave in your ends, and then you are all done. And this is one of the reasons why I love crocheting with you guys so much. You guys are so talented and so creative. You guys add new things, switch up the colors, do color blocking, whatever you guys feel like doing, and I love seeing what you guys come up with. It keeps me inspired. It makes me want to create more things. It makes me want to do so much more with you guys. So thank you so much for being here with us. But like I said, enough of that little tangent. Like I said, we are here and we are deciding whether if we want to do our loops or not, which I will because this is a tutorial. I got to show y'all everything. But if you guys just want to leave it like this, you are more than welcome. So if you guys are going in with your corset ties like me, we're going to get started on that right now. We're going to want to make sure that our tights are flipped right side out so that we are looking at our ribbing that we have left for ourselves a couple clips ago, a couple minutes ago, maybe a little bit ago. But once when we get here, we're just going to go in with a row of net just along each side. So one up here and then one down here and then same thing on the other side. So the easiest way to do it is actually just take a look at this base that we have right here. We're going to call it the base. And then we're going to actually insert our hook into one of these loops. This is going to be all dependent on you guys. You guys can just eyeball it. But I like to go maybe about 2 rows up. So here's the first row. Here's the second. I'm just going to find a loop, insert my hook behind it, insert my yarn behind that, pull through. And then once when we have that, we're going to automatically prepare for a half double crochet. And then we're also going to be going into the first available loop that we left for ourselves when we did our ribbing. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert into this loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, just like that. And then now that we have that attached, we can do a chain up of 1, prepare for a half double, and then the rest of this is going to be a lot easier. We're just going to skip 1 loop, go into the loop after that with another half double. And that is our first net. So what we're going to do from here is just continue doing a chain up of 1, skipping 1 loop, and then going into the loop after that with a half double. And that's pretty much it. So go ahead and keep doing this all the way down until we reach the bottom of our pant leg, not our cuff. And then I'll meet you guys back to show you guys how to end that off. So I've just made it all the way down my pant leg, putting our half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, going all the way down. And once when we get here, we're going to connect it into this base, and it's going to be the same way that we connected into the base on top. We're just going to need to eyeball a loop that is close to where our hook currently is. Then we're just going to go in with a slip stitch just to close it off. So yarn over, pull through everything, chain up 1 and cut, and then we're actually done with this entire side. So I'm just going to flip my work, do the same thing along this side, and then same thing on the other side as well. And then I'll meet you guys back once when this portion is all done. Alrighty, so we are all back, and I got a little carried away, and I did the netting on both sides and then also on the other pant leg as well. And then I also, that's my hair, also did the chain for the entire corset. And this is going to be completely up to you guys. You guys can make it as long or as short as you guys need. I actually made a chain of 450, and I don't even know the measurements for that. But other than that, just make a drawstring chain, and then we are all done. Just weave in your ends, and then we're all good. We have woven in our ends, and this is our corset leggings all finished up. I am super jazzed about this project. You guys have no idea. I'm literally wearing them right now as I speak because I love them so much, and I hope y'all do too. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount, and enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us who in your life inspires you the most and why. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, give this video a thumbs up and let us know what you liked about it, but if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down, but let me know how we can improve. If you love it, be sure to hit that bell so you know when there's new uploads for you, and also be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, links down below. If you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel, links to our Poshmark, Depop, and Etsy are down there too, along with tools used. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.